Hey everybody, welcome to Goots' Wrestling Pod. I'm your host Ray Goots, and with me is Kyle Lewis. Kyle, how you feeling, brother? You having a November to remember?
I am definitely having a November to remember. What about yourselves?
Yeah, my November's not bad. It went by fast. Pratik, having a November to remember?
It's been a memorable November, and yes, I agree. It's been going by very fast.
All right. Before we begin, breaking news: Becky Lynch revealed on a podcast that there was a male wrestler who tried to sleep with all the female wrestlers, and then he would have you blacklisted if you gave in. He was a top star. People are trying to figure out who it is. I can just tell people just don't have good memories. They said Batista. Batista wasn't really there when she started rising up. So I want to go around and get your guesses. I'm gonna say Jericho. I'm gonna say it's Jericho. He was around for her ascent. He was around 2013, 2014, 15, 16. We heard about the Kylie Ray rumors. There's rumors about him and Britt Baker. I'm gonna say it's Jericho. He's a notorious cheater, and I think she put that out there to prevent him getting re-signed. That's my guess. Kyle, who do you think it is?
I didn't think too much into it, honestly, when I heard about it. Chris Jericho is a good guess based off of things we've heard, rumors we have heard in the past, and just seeing personal actions myself. But I don't think the weird thing is if that is true, I don't think that would stop them. I think this is a rumor that not even a rumor. His images are on Getty Images right now. WWE uploaded all like his old photos and the 8x10s to Getty Images. So I think he's on his way. Even if it is him, I think he's on his way.
I think you're right. I think that if it is him, that probably means that he's going to get the world title because that's how this company operates. But I do think Becky Lynch put that out there for a reason because she probably heard the rumors he's coming back. And this is all my theory. And to put it's a choice to put that out there. It's not like this is something that's been so like she's volunteering that information, maybe to warn Jericho not to like come in and try to stick it up Roxanne Perez's butt. I don't know, but I mean, I definitely think whether it's him or not, he's coming in and he's getting a push to stick it to Tony Khan. And I think ruining Tony Khan's life is more important than protecting women. That's my point of view. Uh,
I'm sure there's somebody on that someone out there that thinks that in the WWE.
Pratik, who do you think it is? Who do you think Becky Lynch is talking about?
I keep going back and forth. Part of me, when I first heard this, my first thought was maybe like a Del Rio type, but he really, in 2014, 2015, he was kind of with Paige, but there was some shadiness there. But he also
Mhm.
wasn't like considered a top star at that point. He was doing more like United States title runs and also then I thought maybe Orton, because I know Orton's had some shady stuff when he started, but I know that Orton, after he had his kid, he kind of mellowed out, and people kind of Orton's kind of proclivities. Like it feels like the roster, they kind of laugh at Orton now, like, oh, he was a angry guy, angry young guy. But I feel like I don't know, it possibly could be. But I feel like Orton's been there through and through. Like if she wanted to say something about Orton, why did she say it now? You know what I mean? Like he never left, so that's why Jericho from your Jericho explanation, that does kind of make the most sense in terms of the timing of it. I mean, maybe it's Lesnar too. I don't know, but it's also like again, if it's Lesnar, he's someone who's been around. He never really
Oh
left.
no.
Why didn't she just bring it up when he was already gone? You know what I mean? So the timing of this makes me think maybe it's like a Jericho thing.
Kyle, you said, "Oh no, is there breaking news?"
No, this is a personal thing that I just fucked up on.
Oh, sorry. Well, were you the one who texted Becky Lynch? Was it just?
No, this is a thing. This is what happens when you have to multitask on a
Oh,
busy
okay. Well,
Thanksgiving Wednesday.
Kyle got a text from Tony Khan being like, "Please defend
He's-
me." Um,
Exactly.
God, the other thing too, though, with wrestling is that it's a horny business. I mean, you're all like half naked, you're all on the
yeah,
road together. Uh, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some people hooked up that we would never guess in a million years. Like Roxanne Perez and Michael Cole right now are doing the horizontal. Keep going back to her. Sorry, she's just the newest person on my mind. So it's a crazy business. I mean, I would love to date a female wrestler because I like their body types. but also you have to kind of like if Blake Monroe's your girlfriend and you like are an accountant or you're like a world famous comedian like the Goots, you just got to accept that she's probably going to cheat on you because Roman Reigns, he wants her to acknowledge him, and he is the tribal chief. So
Didn't
Yeah, I mean,
Becky Lynch, sorry.
some things come out, and there's some things that never come out
mhm.
that you hear, and like you said, you don't know who is doing what. It's like high school. Like every time you hear NXT, Braun Breakers with Cora Jade, now Braun Breakers with Izzy Day. The Hale had Cora Jade's boyfriend, blah 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 blah. It's you're with these people not as much as they used to be, but you're with these people
Wow.
a lot, and you hang out after a show, have some drinks, have a good time, you have money. It's just things just kind of fall into place. And you got to be like a Trish Stratus, or from her account, her and Ron, her longtime husband. She was good. She didn't do anything. Whether you believe that or not is up to you. But she said she was very faithful, and Ron was very trusting. And I'm sure there are other relationships like that. And then there are others who definitely
And then
sabotage on the road. There's sunny days, which we all know about very well, and all of
there's
that.
sunny days and sunny nights. Speaking of sunny days, let's talk about November to Remember. You know, I, this show felt to me like Paul Heyman was like, we're not gonna rely on WWE for this one. We're not gonna rely on. We're just gonna present a pure show and show everyone what the roster has to offer. And but sadly, what the roster has to offer is not that much because this was not that great of a show. Kyle, your thoughts on today's show?
Yeah, I thought it was okay. It started to pick up, I think, a little towards the end. I thought the beginning match was a choice, and then I think ECW had to find their footing. This was their third pay-per-view ever,
Hmm.
right? So they were still trying to find themselves, find their footing, and they do eventually, but they're just trying to find the actual flow and how to actually do pay-per-view.
Yeah, Pratik, your overall thoughts on the show before we break it down.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't like the best pay per view, but definitely felt like a rebuilding pay per view. Felt like they're trying to figure things out. It like kind of picked up in the middle, but then there was a lot of bloated chaos in the middle. But I enjoyed how they kind of wrapped things up, and we'll get into that as we talk about
Yeah.
the matches.
You know, I just think the problem with ECW now is that, well, maybe for this show, is that the three top guys, like the three guys that we're supposed to see as the top guys, which are Tommy Dreamer, Shane Douglas, and I guess Just Incredible, have all turned out to be very annoying losers now. As we get in, like maybe not Shane Douglas, he's the least annoying. Like he kind of just sits a target all day. But Tommy Dreamer is just like he's just like Al Bundy with like his touchdowns at this point, and he just doesn't go away, and he just gets fatter and more obnoxious, and he acts like he sold out the Silver Dome, and he could barely keep up with Rob Van Dam in this match, and this is like he's 26 and he's moving like he's 52, and so it's like I think that's the thing. Like time hasn't been kind. It'd be one thing I guess if Tommy Dreamer like became the WWE champ in like 2007 and like fucking proved everyone wow what a story. But like everyone kind of like this is like their peak and they're not even that good at their peak. You know, guys.
Yeah, certain things I thought would like hold up better, and so there was a bit of like some letdowns during some of the matches. Where I'm like, oh, this did not hold up.
So let's get into it. Let's get into the first match. Our opening contest here is a main event anywhere in the world. Tommy Rogers of the Fantastic versus Chris Candido. Now, I liked this match when it started. I thought they were having a really good, solid wrestling match. The crowd did not like it. They are chanting boring and this stinks, and they're not into it. They are not here for traditional because this does have a very WCW Southern feel. They're not here for it. They reject it. Eventually Jerry Lynn and Lance Storm run out. to tell us how great AEW is going to be in 30 years. And then it becomes a tag match, which they're a little bit more into. Candido wins. Candido and Storm. They're like, I like their thing, which I kind of connected with them when I got back into wrestling in '98, is that they don't get along, but they get the job done, and that's what happens here. Candido's kind of a blowhard. He kind of blows off Lance Storm, and Lance Storm is more of the serious guy. But I liked the match when it was a singles, a tag match. I was like, eh. But I don't know. I did it. I was just surprised the crowd shit on it. But I think this is a crowd here for violence, and they're not here for traditional Southern wrestling. Kyle, what did you think of the opening contest?
I think it was a weird one just to start with. I think if this was maybe second or third, definitely second, I think people would have been more into it. But to start with it, especially when you're thinking of ECW, while ECW has a lot of technical and a lot of great technical wrestled matches, I don't think Chris Candido was as hot yet, and I don't think anyone was really clamoring for Tommy Rich. So just the combination just did not work out, at least in the fans' eyes, and it kind of hurt the match a little bit. Tag match was what it was, but good wrestlers, I guess bad time to start.
Yeah, yeah, it was. What did you think, critique?
Yeah, same thing. Like the wrestling itself wasn't bad, but yeah, just the crowd was not into it as much, and you could tell like they were trying. If anything, maybe started as a tag instead. But I agree with what both of you have said. Probably shouldn't have started with this. Maybe started with the Dudley Boys, that 4-way. That might have been a better opener for the crowd reaction. Yeah, that crowd just didn't want that style of wrestling just yet, or maybe start with Taz, but you really don't want to start with a squash match. So yeah, I think it's a combination of placement, combination of too long on the singles, getting to the tag quicker. But yeah, I didn't mind the actual wrestling part. It just felt like the crowd wasn't into it.
Yeah. So up next is Just Incredible versus Mikey Whipwreck. This is in the early days of Just Incredible. Again, I started watching in '98, and the TV in '98 really wanted you to think Just Incredible was not just the future of ECW, but the future of the business. If you're buying the bullshit that Paul Heyman's feeding you in early '98, you would assume that in 10 years, Just Incredible is going to be Triple H for like the belt. I never bought it, and I was right. I was like, I don't think this guy's going to go anywhere. And not only did he not go anywhere, but he went in a very bad direction where he's like conning fans out of money and stuff. He pinned the Great Sasuke in Queens, which that is a massive thing. That is the equivalent of Javon Evans, I think, pinning like fucking Okada, which they should do. Or Kevin Knight pinning Okada is like it's like a big deal. So this match happens and it's fine. I also thought Mikey Whipwreck was fine. Everything they do is fine. It's just like I never bought into Just Incredible thing. He was incredibly miscast, and history has proven right. Heyman tried, but he tried a little bit too long. I think one of the big mistakes in the year 2000 was going so all in on Just Incredible, and I think they wound up paying the price on that. He picked the wrong guy, and yeah, it's fine. It's okay. It's decent, but it's not like the greatest thing in the world. Kyle, what did you think?
Yeah, I think it was fine too. I mean, this was more the rise of Just Incredible, at least the beginning. So I was a little shocked to see him lose to Mikey Whipwreck. I thought, like, just my memory, I just remember him kind of just mowing through everybody for a bit. And maybe that's in '98 he does that. But yeah, it was just there. I mean, it was good to see Mikey Whipwreck. There's kind of two, I will say directionless because I'm not watching the hardcore TV. I don't remember what was going on at the time.
With Just Incredible, and eventually Just Incredible wins the feud and moves on. But like, yeah,
Yeah,
he was.
but it
I think
just seemed just kind of, just kind of there. Yeah, a similar. And this is not to just crap on AEW, but how AEW just seems like it has matches for the sake. Yeah, even though you said this was a feud, has matches for the sake of matches. This seemed like another. The first two was like, okay, these are matches for the sake of matches, and there's nothing wrong with that if you want to see like good wrestling or even okay wrestling at this point. But when you're not invested, you're just like it's just gonna hurt it, even if everyone's doing their best.
yeah. Critique your thoughts.
Yeah, echoing the same thing. Like they tried out there, it was a serviceable match, but I just think the crowd needed a bigger like some of the bigger people in ECW to start with an opener, kind of what WWE is doing now. They'll have like a opening contest that's kind of on a semi main event level. I just think the pacing of this pay per view, they could have started with one of the bigger matches. Yeah, it just, but nothing wrong with the match itself. They were fine. They did what they did, serviceable. Crowd kind of seemed like they were getting a little bit on board towards the end. What helped this match was it wasn't very long. It was very, it was very tight. So, nothing wrong with the match itself, but again, maybe not the best for this early on in the show.
Yep. So up next, Joey Styles goes, Al Snow's in the back getting head. They cut to Al Snow, and this is the first time I think we see head. He's yelling at the head. Blue Meanie and Nova are pretending they're weirded out by him. The acting of Blue Meanie and Nova is atrocious. And Al Snow's yelling at the head, and then they cut back to Joey Styles. He's like, "Oh God," he was told, "What's this with head?" And the acting on everyone, this gets over. This gets really over. I think the only reason why Al Snow is still in wrestling is how hard this gets over in a month or two. But however, in the moment watching it, it's just very cringe. It hasn't aged well at all. The acting for everyone is kind of cheesy. Even Joey Styles, like, I'm so mortified by saying head, his stupid faces. It comes across very cheesy. It comes across very, very cheesy. Whereas like Austin shit and they'd make fun of like WCW and WWF, but like this has aged way worse than like Hogan with the NWO or The Rock's promos or whatever. Uh, what did you guys think about Snowwood Head?
It is. I mean, I was wondering if it was the debut of that, and I guess you're right. It was the debut of Al Snowhead. Um, no, it doesn't age well, and not in a like I'm offended way, just in a kind of like okay, this is kind of corny way. But yeah, ECW because every time we watch these on Peacock, we haven't watched a lot of these together at the three of us. It really just ages the worst. And it's not that I'm like offended. It's not the blood. It's not the, it's just, I don't know, just the kind of, I don't know how to explain it and explain why, but
It
it
comes across
just,
corny. It's very corny.
yeah. And it wasn't back then. It really wasn't. It was fun. It was cool. I mean, I think that was the style at the time. It's like Grandpa Simpson. It was the style at the time. And I just, it just suffers. And that sucks because there's a lot of good about ECW, and there was a lot of good with some of these segments, but that one was not one of them.
Mhm. Yeah, I think before I jump to Pratik, I think the thing about it is Pratik, you there? Oh no,
I'm
that's
here.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, I think the thing it is with some of this ECW stuff is like yeah these like for example WCW like yeah they're doing the booking is coming across wrong, but when Scott Hall walks out there, he still looks way cooler than most of the 2025 wrestlers. Is the stink? Yes. Are the booking decisions horrible? Of course they were. But he still has an aura and a swag that has aged really well. And I think you can say the same thing about Eddie Guerrero in WCW. I think you could say about Hogan, Nash, so many of those guys. And this like doesn't have the same timeless swag. It's very much like I think like back in the day, we're like, oh my god, they're making like jokes about getting head, and we think it's funny. And they're like, oh, WCW is so corny, they wouldn't do it. But now that we're like men in our 30s and 40s, it's like, well, I'd rather watch Scott Hall staunch into the ring than this shit. Pratik, what do you think about head?
Yeah, because it's weird because I remember being into this gimmick as a kid. It is one of those things where it didn't I think you hit the nail on the head by saying it's cringe. It's not that it's like offensive. It's more it's just like ugh, like it was just weird. I mean, but Head got over. I mean, there were Head toys. Head was in. I remember in WWF Attitude, you could play as Head
Yes.
himself, so it got over at some point. But I guess, yeah, this was the first incarnation. But yeah, it was really. I remember, like, I think the only thing that I kind of liked about the segment was the head screwed head comment because I'm like, oh, he's referencing Brett screwed Brett, so that got a out of me. That literally describes the entire segment. Like, oh yeah, but yeah, it didn't age well. It's a shame because the head got over ultimately with fans. So it's kind of interesting from a time capsule point of view, this entire pay per view. But yeah, it's more like again a study on what worked and what didn't work and what kind of got over eventually organically. But yeah, at this point it was just like, oof, this didn't.
I just, I think in the short term, head was huge for Al Snow, but in the long term, it's like he's not going to become like. Imagine if you try to make Al Snow like your Cena, and he's having his retirement. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to be this thing that you could still like. He can't still be coming out in WWE TV with head,
No.
and like in serious storylines with Roman Reigns and CM Punk or whatever. Like it's not going to be like this 30-year dynasty like the Undertaker was with the
I
head
mean,
thing.
they did drop it when he was like heel. That whole Mick Foley book thing. This was like '99. We're getting ahead of
I know.
ourselves.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he wasn't like I don't think that head was gone for a bit, and then he was like heel but not heel, and then and
He's
then
was
the
good.
dog, then the boss man thing happened, and then everything went to shit again for him.
Didn't he
Head
tag
cheese.
with Blackman for a while too? And I don't think he had
Then
that.
yeah, then the head's back, and then they're head cheese,
Head cheese.
which is equally as cringy.
But they had a good dynamic in the ring.
They
I
did. Yeah.
like they were a good tag team. They and I don't we didn't appreciate them. You don't know what it's got. They could still do it. They're still alive. But hey, head
Still
cheese,
wrestling.
not so classic. Come on.
Does Al Snow bring the head for like pictures and signings, or does he is he solo? I'm
He
curious.
seems like a good guy now, but I don't know.
I haven't seen him in a long time since my Ultimate Warrior fiasco that I talked
Oh,
about a few weeks ago. I have not seen Al Snow in person.
Al still, what a bozo. All right, up next. It's Taz versus Pitbull number two with Pitbull number one and Lance Wright. Paulie joins the commentary to get over Brock Lesnar. And this is just what it is. I mean, bro, fucking Taz was my favorite. I really thought I was all in on Taz. I was like, he is when WWE got Taz, I'm like, fucking Austin's it's over for Austin The Rock. Taz is gonna be the top guy. And I was wrong about that. But I want to see more of Taz, and he's like, it's like a squash, which is great, I guess. But I don't know, and it's not that great. And then Taz starts attacking security because Brackett shows up from WWE. Uh, and yeah, it is what it is. It's just like, man, I felt bad for people who paid to see Taz, and he's barely on this show. So I don't know. It was fine. Kyle, what do you think?
It was I was more disappointed about the Pit Bulls. Like what a fall from grace. Because they were like ECW when they went extreme. I remember when I just started watching, like they were like the big deal. They were the big tag team. They had Francine with them. Gary Wolf Pitbull won, had the neck thing, and Shane Douglas like took his actual. He shouldn't have done that, but he heard him. He like pushed him down when he had like a legitimate like neck surgery, and they had Pitbull too as like a legitimate TV champion for a while. So to see them go from that to losing in maybe like 2 minutes or whatever it was, just a fall from grace. And it gets worse for both of them. I know Pitbull one allegedly was the guy who like revealed the magician secrets, but it's the wrestling version. Allegedly. I don't know if that's ever been proven. And of course Pitbull two is no longer with us. But it's just disappointing to see a tag team that was like ECW core just squashed. And
Yeah.
brackets, what are you doing there? Like get it out of here. Like it didn't work. Go away.
Brackus, I think they knew WWE knew Brackus wasn't going to work, so they let him flop in ECW. They got rid of him because Taz. I remember because Brackus was winning on WWF TV, like on the Shotgun Saturday, and then they had Taz squash him, and then you don't see him on WWE TV, and I'm like, that's crazy to me, bro. That's like Braun Breaker just gets squashed on TNA and we never see him again. Now, obviously, Braun has a higher, like, he's been doing more, but that's the, like, or like what Obi Femi just gets, like, Eddie Edwards just beats the shit out of him and then he just vanishes. Like, I've never seen that before where you just let another company's guy just humiliate your guy and then you fire him. But I guess they were like, fuck Brackus, we'll use him to get over Taz for some reason.
Yeah. Guess he
So,
sucked.
yeah, he sucked, yeah. Pratik, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this was it was a good squash, for Taz. Good moment. I liked seeing Heyman on commentary. He did a good job, kind of like building up Taz. You're seeing the rise of Taz at this point. So I was excited for it again. The crowd really woke up for this match. I think that's the main thing. Like maybe this could have been the opener, but you really don't want to use a squash for an opener. So, but it was nice to see the crowd really pick up because they had mentioned in every match at this point, like this was like a record house for them, right outside of Pittsburgh, exciting crowd, big house. So for them to finally wake up, I think it was a good moment for the pay per view itself. Even though it was a short match, it's nice to see the crowd wake up.
Yeah. Yeah. So up next is the Fatal Four Way Tag Match. It's elimination style. We got the FBI, who, by the way, I thought the FBI was really. It's so funny how things change with time. I thought the FBI was horrible when I was a kid, and now I think it's really funny, especially the more I know about Tony Rich. Like, it's really funny, like to see him pretend to be Italian and basically be a manager. And Tracy Smothers is another guy that we didn't appreciate when he was around, and it's just funny. Little Guido, obviously, I've met him. He's a great guy. He's a real shooter. But it's the FBI taking on the Dudley Boys, taking on Balls Mahoney and Axel Rotten, taking on the Gangstanators. This match is what the crowd wanted. They wanted a fucking shit show, and they got it. It's a lot of crazy nonsense, and eventually the FBI wins. It's all over the place. This is ECW chaos. You want ECW chaos? This is it. Surprisingly though, I don't think it's the best match on the show. It's a lot of nonsense, and the FBI wins. The crowd's upset. I think it was smart because the FBI is probably the most entertaining act in the ring right now for me at this point in ECW. But the crowd was not happy the FBI won. But uh, hey, listen, at Mahoney and Rotten, they got to keep chasing. Yeah, it was fine. It wasn't bad. What did you think, Kyle?
Yeah, I didn't think it was a bad match. It's exactly what people wanted, besides the winners. You get to see an earlier rendition of the Dudleys before they became like the Heat Magnets. Gangstanators are always fun, despite that terrible fake New Jack music. Uh, FBI, X Rotten Balls Mahoney as well. Another fun like babyface tag team that people love. I was surprised to see the FBI win. I thought they were going to be gone immediately, but nice surprise. And then you can keep the two separate feuds going. So I thought that's exactly what the crowd wanted and needed. And the show
Critique it.
needed it too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, literally the what Kyle just said. The show needed this good car wreck of a match. It's what ECW fans wanted. This would have been maybe good match to open with, but again, that ending, the crowd really didn't want that ending. But I agree with the ending because there's always money in the chase. Like there's something to that. You can keep the feuds going. You didn't need to end the feuds. A good four way where everybody looks good. Yeah, serviceable. This to me, this is what when I think of ECW, I thought of this kind of car wreck. I was reading reviews like from some of the other like kind of experts. It feels like according to like the wrestling nerds and the internet, they did not like the chaos of this. So it's funny how these type of matches now aren't appreciated, but I feel like they're what you expect from ECW, and I think they should get the appreciation they deserve. So I'm glad we're talking about it on this and kind of giving it its flowers for what it is.
Yeah, no, totally. Up next, this fucking guy. I I'm a Tommy Dreamer fan. I think he's been sticking around the business way too long. They always like. It feels like if you just stick around wrestling, everyone thinks you should be in the Hall of Fame. I actually think there should be a never. You will never be in the Hall of Fame, people. And my three candidates are Kevin Sullivan, Jeff Jarrett, and Tommy Dreamer. They just hung around.
Yeah.
They haven't done it. He's annoying. He walks and he cuts his promo. The doctor said he shouldn't wrestle. That he always is like 2 days away from retiring, and he's still fucking wrestling on TNA in 2025. It's just like he's constantly in the way, and he does this. I love wrestling. I love this rah rah bullshit. And so here it's a flag match. Rob Van Dam is the WWF guy, which is so funny because when he finally signs with WWF, he kind of doesn't get along with Triple H and Vince because they see him as too much of the ECW guy. And Tommy Dreamer gets a job in the office when he goes because they both debuted the same night, which is. Do you remember? Isn't it? I just realized that's kind of funny. Rob Van Dam and Tommy Dreamer debuted the same night during the invasion.
Yeah.
They ECW, and Tommy Dreamer winds up being in the company way longer than RVD that first run through. Um, so yeah, whoever wins, they get to lift their flag. Um, This match is fine. Dreamer can't keep up with RVD. They're both 26. Joey Styles trying to position these two guys as young lions, future of the business. Tommy Dreamer already looks like he's 42. And in my mind, he just can't keep up with RVD. It just constantly feels like RVD is like he needs like a really he just needs a better stop level of wrestler. Dreamer can't do it. And they're wrestling like this is a big fucking huge match, but I don't know. I just don't feel it. We get a no contest finish. Everyone runs in. Phil LaFon, Doug Furness, Stevie Richards is back from WCW. And then Sabu comes in and just fucking just punches. He kicks Beulah right in the head. She falls down with a shot of her ass. The crowd starts chanting for her ass, which I guess is nice. And they're beating the shit. Tommy Dreamer like shields Beulah, but he does it to his face is right on her butt, which I know like he did that on purpose. Um, they're beating the shit out of him, and then the Sandman comes out. The longest say the Sandman just like drinks his beer, walks to the ring. Just the slowest save you can imagine to start the next match. But before we get the Sandman Sabu, my overall thoughts about this match were it's just Tommy Dreamer just never had it. I don't think, and this match I think to me proves it. I didn't really enjoy it. Kyle, your thoughts?
I know it's fine. I didn't really know if they ever fought each other before, but I guess that answered my question. Rob Van Dam versus Tommy Dreamer. It was a little clunky. It's gonna get clunkier real soon afterwards. But I like the involvement with Beulah, the referee. Steven Richards was a nice surprise because he was just on like a month ago. I think Halloween Havoc or one of the shows we were watching. He was just on, and he had a very short WCW tenure, and so it was nice to see him back in a place that actually like appreciates him. But yeah, the match was just okay.
Critique?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where in as a kid, I remember kind of watching this and being excited about it. But it's one of those things where, yeah, like I forget how, you know, Dreamer's mobility was kind of limited. You have to give kudos to Rob Van Dam for kind of carrying the match itself. Yeah, it's
Storyline wise, they do say he has like a busted ankle or something, right?
okay, yeah. So there was some injury angle to it, but again, it's just yeah. I like the parts with Rod. There were good parts, but it was definitely it dragged. It was a bit too long. The run-ins kind of worked for me. Yeah, everybody. It was almost like a play. Like everybody played their role in the run-ins well. They do a good job with that with the run-ins. I think in ECW. But yeah, it dragged too long. I want to like it more. There were definitely huge clunky spots in it. So I'm still like 2.5 out of 5. Like it kind of works. Crowd gets into certain parts of it too. That helps. But yeah, it dragged on way more than it needed to be. But the run-ins were fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Up next is the reason to watch this show. The best match on the show because it's so fucking bad. Sandman versus Sabu in a Stairway to Heaven, Stairway to Hell. I don't know, just fucking tables, ladders, and chairs. Uh, this is this. You got to see this match. You have to see it. This is one of the most ridiculous spot fests I've ever seen in wrestling. There is no semblance of logic. There is no semblance of psychology. There are botches after botches after botches. Um, and I still enjoy it more than some of these AEW botch fests. Which try. Here's my thing: some of these AEW matches they try to put logic and they're just murdering each other, and the logic, and then they just when they get to a certain point they throw logic out the window, and I find that more insulting than this match, which is there is no logic, there is no rhyme or reason. I'm going to climb up a ladder and fall on your face and miss it, and then get right back up, and then Sandman's going to do. It just there's no it's like an anti-match. It's just like they're not even trying to like make this even a realistic fight. Like who like it's like it. By the way, it's a pinfall and submission match. So you don't even need to touch the ladders or tables. They're just doing it to do it. It is everything that Jim Cornette shits on wrestling about. It is everything people shit on AEW about. But to me, it is so committed to being so nonsensical, just complete nonsense. It's complete nonsense, and I love it. It is. People have said this is one of the worst matches in 1997. No, 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 no. It is one of the best matches of all time because it is a complete insane fucking mess. I love it. This is how all of Will Ospreay match. This is Hangman and Swerve should have a match like this, where literally Swerve misses Hangman and then Hangman misses Swerve, and then they just commit to to doing this match. One of the best matches of all time. Oh, your thoughts?
I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but I mean, in the vein of, I guess, a real fight, quote unquote, they sometimes you try and do something in a real fight and it doesn't work out, and and that happens several times in this matchup. It's definitely one of these matches to see. It's a lot of oh, and then they just kind of, and I think the love of the Sandman and Sabu outweigh the botches. So I think it is worth seeing just because of like, what the fuck is this? But I think we can give the best match of all time moniker to somebody else.
No,
To somebody else.
it's just so like they do everything wrong. Like if like
Yes,
Vince McMahon would literally fire both guys the minute they walk through the curtain.
at the
Rick
show.
broke. They just do nothing right. Like two kids with no wrestling training would put on a more coherent match than these two guys, and that's why I like it so much because they don't follow any of the rules of pro wrestling. They just pull up ladders to pull up ladders, and then they miss, and then they don't even sell it. It's like it's insane. It's so funny.
Pretty great. Pretty
Critique, which
ridiculous.
When it is interesting we talk because we use this term spot fest and this is the spot show, and it's looked at as negatively now because now a current day match with the spot fest, you can tell when the crowd loses interest. But to me, this is a spot fest that works. Like everybody's into it. Like you said, it's not like it doesn't make sense from a nonsense standpoint, but I can't stop watching it. It's you have to recommend it to people. To me, this is if you want to talk about like ECW, like time capsule, like you have to watch this. So I can't stop watching it. Yes, I'm a fan of both of these wrestlers, but even if necessarily I didn't know, like if someone didn't know Sabu or Sandman, you'd have to show this them because this is a prime example of what it is. So yeah, I couldn't stop watching it. I was thoroughly entertained, but also I would not want to see this like today from like the modern day wrestlers. Like it kind of works in the time it was. That's why it kind of worked for me. But I don't know. I enjoyed it, but I also can't say why it wouldn't work today, if that makes sense.
I'll tell you why I like this match, and I'll give you a good example. Like everybody loved Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay on
Yeah.
a paper, and what this is what annoyed with that match is like at the beginning of the match they throw Don Callis out. They ban him from ringside, or Will Ospreay's going to lose the match. And Don Callis does this whole thing, and he leaves in a huff, and he goes into the back. And these two they keep having their match, and then Don Callis just walks back out in front of her and just starts interfering again, and Will Ospreay wins. And I'm like, that to me is more insulting than this match because it's like you did this whole production that Don Callis has to go. Then he just came back anyway and just did what he was going to do. And so, like, by that logic, why doesn't Don Callis just have a knife on him and stab everyone that his family fights? Because the referee sees Don Callis and he's just like, okay, I want to. It wasn't you need to go to the back for 10 minutes. It's like get out of this match. Like, but then that lot to me, it's like that Don Callis. What are you going to do? You're not going to do anything if I stay out here and interfere. So to me, that's more insulting, and to me, that's more because it's like you tried to apply logic, and then when it didn't suit you anymore, you threw it out the way. I would just prefer it if the referee and Don Callis put each other through tables while Ospreay and Kenny Omega. Like I prefer this where there's just no. We're not going to even attempt to tell a basic wrestling storyline. To me, that is more. That's more to my. That's less insulting to my intelligence than Ospreay Omega.
So what you're saying is you want to respect the stipulations, basically, and
Well, I mean, like if you do put like these rules down in these big moments, you can't just undo the moment. To me, that's more insulting to me. But like if Don Callis is just allowed to interfere and he also is going through tables, like that to me is like okay, at least like you know what? There's no logic, there's no rules, so everyone just go nuts, which is what's happening in this match. So I don't know. I hate to always shit on AEW, but I don't know. Like they try to apply logic to matches, and then they just throw it out the window for a cool spot, and everyone just forgives them, and I don't forgive them. I
And
forgive.
NXT just did it last night, though. The Fatal Influence were not supposed to be outside at ringside, and they came at ringside anyway. And no one stopped them until the referee threw everybody out. That wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And their speed title match, which was supposed to go like 5 minutes, had a 5 minute draw, and then you got sudden death. You're like, what's sudden death for speed? And it just turned into a regular ass match. So it was like, so it
Yeah.
was like, so that
Yeah,
was, so that's also in the same vein. If you want to not just attack AEW.
don't
Oh
watch
yeah,
NXT.
WWE definitely throws out stipulations as well. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's something you see across the modern landscape. Yeah.
well, yeah, no, that's the same thing. Like that to me is worse than this match. Hey, it's a speed match and then becomes a regular match. Well, then there's no speed. Like you just are just going to change the rules. Whereas this, there's no logic, there's no rules, there's no psychology. Sandman's going to die. I'm all in. So anyway, this is. By the way, have we ever found out why how Sabu died? Like, still not out there. Did he just?
I didn't even, yeah, I didn't know if they
Was he
ever
just?
revealed it.
I think I listened to Rob Van Dam's podcast. And he mentioned that Rob was big into saying it wasn't the kratom, it was nothing like that. I don't know if Rob is defending them, maybe he has a stake in them. I don't know, but he says that he talked to Sabu a few days before the last match, and he said Sabu was complaining of some stomach stuff, and he was saying you should go to the doctor. And Sabu, according to Rob Van Dam's words, he said that Sabu said, "I don't want to go to the doctor because I don't want to hear the bed." So maybe there was some lingering health stuff, stomach stuff that Sabu just didn't want to get checked. I necessarily don't know if it was that match because he was walking around after. I remember seeing him walking around that
Yeah.
hotel, Palms Hotel after the match. So.
And
He
I
was
think
also on Legion of Skanks like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks before.
I think that they all. I think that they don't want wrestling. They don't want GCW and Joey Janela to get in trouble. So they have Robin in float this. Oh, he's got some weird stuff. It's not the fact that he fell on his head 14 times. He was bleeding all over Vegas. No, 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 no. It was because he had KFC the day before. Like,
You chaos.
I mean, come on. Like, I, I know we got to pretend that none of this had a toll on him, and he died because he was sad because fucking they canceled. We finished The Wire, and he was sad he didn't. I don't know. Like we just pretend he died because he. Ooh, I don't know. But like, come on, man. All this stuff had an effect on this guy. Let's fucking like we got to pretend it did it. And now Joey Janela is using "I killed Sabu" for heel heat.
Oh,
So
is
but
that an
no,
angle right now? I didn't know that.
that said in a promo like you
That's
fans.
terrible. I don't like
That's
that.
not appropriate.
But nobody cares. Sabu, we just sacrificed him for our meaningless entertainment. But anyway, I appreciate you, Sabu. I didn't kill Sabu. Did you? Did you kill him, Kyle?
No, not me.
Absolutely. A big
Well,
fan.
he's there, so bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I had never seen him live, and it was like this is my one shot to see him live. So I was happy to go. It was a car wreck that left us confused at certain points. There were a couple moments where it's like Sabu got like mad at the announcer guy at one point. He didn't like his intro in that match. There were a couple things where we were just like, wait, is this part of a storyline or is there something going on that we don't know behind the scenes, And also it took a little BTS for I don't know if this was shown on the feed for GCW. It took literally like almost another hour for them to set up that barbed wire ring rope. It took way too
Mm.
long. They were running through every promo. They were running through promos from 10 years ago in GCW. Like they couldn't. Brett Lardell came out at one point and was just like doing this, like, come on, hurry up. Like the one
Oh,
guy making the barbed wire rope, like he got like multiple cuts on his hands and was bleeding. It was utter backstage chaos trying to get that ring set up for the final match. So it was interesting, but still happy I went. It was still a special moment. I'm happy I got to see Sabu live. But yeah, it was something.
it's funny because if this was an episode of Columbo, we sit there with Rob Van Dam, be like, so this guy fell off ladders for 30 years, was bleeding all the floor, but you're telling me that really had no effect, and he had some bad KFC, and that's why he's dead. Oh yeah, that's why he's dead. Must be some really bad KFC then. Like I like Columbo would be like, come on, bro. Like this didn't have an effect. Are you sure? Like everything you're telling me basically sounded like no one knew what they were doing. And then the guy died 3 weeks later. But yeah, you're right. He had bad Chinese food, bad KFC. It's just, those, hey, listen, maybe they undercooked the steak at the stand. Did the stand murder him? I'm gonna say yes. Anyway,
Jesus.
I,
Not touching.
no, the stand's a great place. I love that club. The happiest place, you know, right? Kyle, you there?
Yeah, absolutely. No,
He's
I'm not
not.
getting involved in any of this. I love
Killed
my show this year.
his stomach problems. I'll tell you what killed this show though is the next match. So when I got back into ECW, and I got into ECW, I didn't know it existed in 1994. Um, they hyped up this match on their weekly show like it was an epic, and Shane Douglas put it all out there, and it was so great. And then I asked one of my friends who actually ordered the show, "Hey, was this match as good as?" And he was just like, "No." He was just like, "No, it's not that good." Uh, they really want this match to be an epic. They really okay. So the match, by the way, is Shane Douglas versus Bam Bam Bigelow for the title. Bam Bam has the belt. He betrayed Shane thanks to Rick Rude's badgering. Rick Rude is now gone. He's in WCW, helping to ruin that company. So this is a David versus Goliath match, and Douglas wins, but I don't know, man. This guy shits on Flair a lot. Douglas, he feels like I feel like he's cosplaying Flair when Flair would take on Vader and other monsters. Um, it's long, and they want it to be epic. I think they're trying to outdo Undertaker, Shawn, and they're trying to outdo Eddie Ray, and they can't. They just and I don't. You know what? I'm not gonna say it's Bam Bam. I don't think it's Bam Bam's fault because when Bam Bam was with Brett, by the way, what a missed opportunity not having Bam Bam and Brett fight in WCW. But that's a whole other conversation for down the road. Um, when Bam Bam has a good opponent, he fucking delivers. I just don't think Shane wrestles, and I'm gonna give Triple H a compliment. Shane wrestles thinking he's Triple H or Ric Flair. He's not as good as either one. He's just not, and he can't do it. He's not as good as they tell us he is. He's another guy like Tommy Dreamer. He's fine and he's great on the mic, but he can't hang. He can't hang, and he never could. And but he seemed like a great guy. But overall, I thought this was a disappointing main event. But hey, but now Taz has challenged Shane for a title match. Kyle, what you think of this match, the main event?
It was a little weird to see. I don't really see a lot of face Shane Douglas and underdog Shane Douglas. So to have him in the underdog in a match with a triple threat, which is still a group, um, so it was a little jarring to see him and Francine on that side. For me, I know Bam Bam played his role well. He looked like a beast, no pun intended. Looked like a I know his skills. Maybe this is why it didn't happen in WCW. Started to deteriorate a little later down the line, but I didn't dislike it as much as you did. I thought it was fine. This whole show's just a giant fine, just a big fine. Um, and so, but I was surprised that Shane Douglas just won with like one belly to belly. Maybe it's my like 2025 wrestling brain. But I was like, wait, what? His ass beat the whole match. That's it. So that I didn't really love, but no, it was just fine. And then Shane Douglas, I guess, will be back to being hated
Yeah.
in the
Well,
next one.
Bam Bam. So Taz challenges Shane, and then Bam Bam attacks Taz. So Living Dangerously is the famous Bam Bam Taz match. Uh,
Yes,
and Shane Douglas has a different match. And then they takes a year for Taz to get to Shane, which they did a good build up of. They did a good build up of Taz eventually getting his hands on Shane. But the Bam Bam matches with Taz are just I think they're the last great Bam Bam matches. Although I thought he had some good stuff with Goldberg, which again I hope we get to. Hope we get to all of this. Who knows? We haven't gotten any updates on the archives. Pratik, what did you think of this main event?
Yeah, it wasn't an amazing main event, but still like serviceable main event. Good storyline for the home crowd because Shane is, I believe, from that area, so it was a good like hometown feel good moment. I also felt that there were like fingerprints of Vader, Ric Flair in this match thrown in, so it was definitely interesting. Not terrible, but still decent, all right. Which is kind of like yeah, like 3 out of 5, which is kind of like the running tally for this whole kind of pay per view. Like 3 out of 5, serviceable, gets the job done. And again, yeah, I feel like this was Bam Bam played his role well in ECW. I noted that in the Spike Dudley match that we reviewed on the last pay per view. Like Bam Bam serves his role well, and it's nice to see some good Bam Bam stuff because I used to like him as a kid. I kind of didn't watch his entire kind of match catalog, so it's been good for me to go back and watch his archives. So again, serviceable match, good to see Bam Bam, good feel good moment for the hometown.
Yes. All right. All in all, in terms of November of '97, I think WWF had the best show. Second place, surprisingly, which I didn't think it would be, is World War III. And third place is November to Remember. Kyle, what's your rankings?
The exact same ones. Who would have thought World War Three
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
have been number two?
And they got Eddie and they got Ultimo. That's why they were able to do it. Even though that main event was atrocious. Critique your rankings of November '97.
Survivor Series number one, and then World War Three edges by because of Eddie and Ray. That main event really brings it down. But Eddie and Ray, they get to squeak by with that. But again, this is still a great. This is a pay per view that if people don't know ECW, this is still a good time capsule pay per view that I recommend. Or at the very least, the Sabu Sandman match. That's like a time capsule match. I would encourage people who haven't seen ECW to watch that match at the very least.
You gotta watch that match. It's a fantastic illustration of everything Sabu was about, which was nothing. It was about nothing. Um, all right, let's go over the next 4 weeks. Next week is the Generation X in your house. Shawn Michaels versus Ken Shamrock. In 2 weeks, Starrcade '97, Hulk Hogan versus Sting. In 3 weeks, Royal Rumble '98, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. And then in 4 weeks, Sold Out '98, Lex Luger versus Randy Savage. And then in 5 weeks, we got to see because we'll be in January, and we got to see if the archive's still on Peacock, we'll keep going in order. If not, I have a couple of different plans, but that's the big question mark. But right now, we're still cruising along. So, Kyle, what are you excited about?
I mean, I'm ready to see the endings. Starcade. What did they do? It's just the same way we did Montreal. We'll go all over it all over again.
Yep, critique.
Starcade, but also the first Rock and Austin match from Degeneration X in your house because I've never watched that in its entirety.
That should be fun. I really do hope that these pay-per-view archives stay on. Yesterday, I just had the 2019 Royal Rumble on in the background while I did work, and Becky and Asuka had a great match, and it's just so nice just to have the luxury to putting that on whenever I feel like it.
That's a good pay per view because I believe you get Dane O'Brien, AJ also on that.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just I really hope that they don't just have all this stuff vanish. But we'll see. We'll see. So the backup plan, everyone, if they do make the archives vanish, what we're gonna do, Pratik, I'm assuming these are gonna stay because there's Peacock still has these specials. We're gonna go through all the Sunday's main events,
That would
if,
be cool. Yeah.
starting with the first one. That's if they take everything away, and maybe there's a part of me that thinks like, what if they even take away all the old Sunday main events and they just
No,
leave
no.
versions? But we'll see. There's always TNA Plus. We can always go over the TNA shows. There's a lot of things we can do with this, but we're getting to I really hope we can keep doing this paper because this is a lot of fun. I don't know how you guys feel, but I enjoy watching all these people evolve or de-evolve, you know?
Some
Uh,
people have definitely devolved over
Yeah,
time.
yes, they have. Okay, it's Thanksgiving weekend. Happy Thanksgiving. I'm grateful. I'm thankful for all the viewers. Kyle, what do you got to plug this great Thanksgiving weekend?
Thankful for all of you, the viewers, anybody who supports me for comedy. Cheesy One Friends family. I actually have a strong support system of friends family. Always appreciative of them. And as for plugs, December 4th, December 6th, Character Select Comedy at the Stand. Tickets are going really, really fast. So please get yours ASAP if you want to hang out with us for our last show of the year.
Yep. Pratik, you got plugs? What's going on for you Thanksgiving weekend?
yeah, just thankful for the opportunity to do this show with you guys. Appreciate you guys bringing me on. I'm happy I can make it work. in terms of plugs, at Pratik Comedy on Instagram, pratikcomedy.com. All my dates, I got some stuff that we had to reschedule some stuff, so new dates are being added. So check my website. Support live comedy, support these guys and their endeavors outside of the show, and keep supporting live wrestling as well. Support the live comedy and live wrestling. Go go go!
Yes, not Tony Khan. Don't support
No,
him.
no, it's we love to.
And he had
Samoa Joe, new champion.
Yes, congrats to. I did want to mention this. Congrats to Samoa Joe. Well.
congrats. Okay, good for
You
him.
should be happy. Your boy Hangman Page just lost the title in like
Well,
90 days.
I think I think Tony knows that Hangman's not the guy. I think he just gave the belt to Hangman because they wanted a happy ending for the summer for All In. But I mean, he's got to know he's not the guy. I think Darby Allin's more the guy, to be honest with you. And I don't even think Darby Allin's that great. But Hangman, Adam Page, you'll always be an empty-headed dumb fuck, and that's just the way it is.
Well, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. We'll see you next week. D Generation X. We'll see you then. Happy Thanksgiving, brothers. Peace.